Kim Sa-rae is a talented lawyer and works for the top law firm in South Korea, Cheil, where her mother-in-law, Hui-won, is the chairwoman and her husband, Yul-song, is the CEO. Unfortunately, her mother-in-law doesn't appreciate Sa-rae and doesn't treat her like a member of the family. Today is the birthday of her mother-in-law, and Sarah arranges a big party for her, but Hui-won asked the staff to allow only her son and grandson to be with her at the first table. She doesn't even let Sarah call her mom but insists on being called the chairman even when they are at home. Sarah notices this and is quite upset, but she still tells the staff to add her name to the table because she thinks if she tries hard, with time, Hui-won will accept her. But little does she know, her husband, Yul-song, is cheating on her while being such a muppet to his mom. At the party, Sarah sees her name is removed from the family table again, and Hui-won doesn't even introduce her to their guests. After the party, Sarah feels sad and visits her mom at her noodle shop. It turns out that all of that bad treatment from her in-law is just because Sarah comes from a humble background, and her mother-in-law looks down on her. Her mom doesn't know what Sarah has to endure at home and is happy and proud of her daughter. Sarah's dad died in an accident at a construction site, and it was very difficult for them back then. Sarah's mom says that as long as she is happy, she will also be happy. Sarah returns home and inquires about her mother-in-law, but she insults her, saying that the smell from her maternal home is very bad and that she needs to call her chairman instead of mom. Sarah tries to talk with her husband about that, but he doesn't care and tells her to just suck it up. The only joy Sarah has at home is her little son. One day, Cheil law firm receives a divorce case of a defendant accused of domestic violence, hospital director Kim. He is an important customer because if Cheil can win his cases, all the cases related to his hospital will be assigned to Cheil. Sarah realizes that this case is very difficult to resolve because he is famous for being violent, and the court will likely favor his wife. Seeing Sarah reluctant to take the case, Hui-won offers a condition that if Sarah wins, they will promote her to corporate director, and she will allow Sarah to call her mom. Sarah used false evidence to prove that Director Kim was also assaulted by his wife to help him win custody of their child. However, the wife's lawyer has video evidence of Director Kim and Hui-won in an elevator and uses it to prove his affair. SARA rejects the accusation, but this is their plan to stir up public opinion to defame Mr. Kim's hospital and the Cheil law firm. Meanwhile, prosecutor Ji-jun and his associate are investigating an illegal drug distribution case to a gay bar and discover a connection to Director Kim. Ji-jun goes to Mr. Kim's hospital and confiscates his documents for the investigation. When Sarah hears the news and goes there, she meets Ji-jun. They used to be in love but now act like strangers. Although Ji-jun appears indifferent, he is actually curious about Sarah's recent life and asks a colleague to inquire about her. Afterward, Sarah is informed by her assistant that the investigation has discovered that Mr. Kim is gay and has also distributed drugs to a gay bar. Just then, Sarah also realizes that the position of corporate director has been given to lawyer Ma, a detestable person in the firm. Sarah, angry, confronts Hui-won to ask her why she went back on her word. Hui-won does not answer and asks Sarah what she plans to do about it. Sarah says that if that's the case, she will act according to her conscience. At the next trial of Director Kim and his wife's son Jang-mi, Sa-rae goes to the restroom and speaks loudly so Jang-mi can hear that if they show evidence of Mr. Kim's interest in men, Jang-mi will win the case and get custody of her son. Jang-mi and her lawyer do that, and she wins the case. Meanwhile, Hui-won tells Yul-song he must leave Sa-rae and find a way to marry the daughter of the Judicial Council chairman to change the law, open their school, and start the Yultown project. It turns out Hui-won secretly uses Sa-ra's documents to divorce her from her son. Moreover, she uses Sa-ra's documents for a fake marriage with a foreigner, with the reason to get her grandson into an international school. The prosecutor's office investigates this, and Hui-won does this purposely to trap Sa-rae, send her to prison so Yul-song can marry the chairman's daughter and improve the Cheil law firm's position. Yul-song goes to the prison to tell Sa-rae about the divorce and that he will take care of their child, and he will support her after she gets out. However, Sa-rae already figured their plan of sending her to prison so he can remarry and vows to get back custody of her child when she gets out. However, Kang Bom, Sarah's old assistant, announces that Hui-won has perfectly forged the documents give up Sarah's parental rights, and she also can't secure custody of her child. Kang Bom feels sorry for Sa-rae, but Sarah tells him she won't give up, the day of Yulsong and his new fiancée Han Ji-in's engagement party arrives, and Yulsong's ex-lover shows up at the party and causes a scene. Jin Jun also learns from a friend about Yulsong quickly divorcing Sarah as soon as she went to prison and marrying the prosecutor's daughter to advance his career. A few days later, the media report on a young woman named Naomi found dead on the road. The investigative authorities suspect it was just a traffic accident, but her grandfather does not believe it. In protests to demand justice for his granddaughter, Jin Jun is in charge of this case and realizes that Yul-song was the last person to meet Naomi before her death. Therefore, he summons Yul-song to the prosecutor's office for questioning as part of the investigation. At Sarah's mother's noodle shop, a part-time employee realizes that she had seen the victim at an event she worked at the previous night. At that time, the young woman had dropped her phone into a flower basket, and thanks to that, a video was recorded of Yul-song meeting Yumi and later instructing his men to eliminate Yumi. In the prison, Sarah realizes that she has to be stronger and starts to practice fighting in the prison gym room. She is then surprised when Jang Mi visits her. Unlike Sarah, Jang Mi's life has turned a new page after the divorce. Sarah is curious about Jang Mi's reason for the visit. It turns out Jang Mi wants to collaborate with Sarah to start a divorce support service for the people in need. Sarah refuses because she is in prison and won't be able to practice law for the next 5 years, but Jang Mi still asks her to contact if she changes her mind. Meanwhile, Sarah's mother calls Jin Jun to inform him about the evidence regarding Yumi's murder. He asks her to meet at the prosecutor's office. However, while she is waiting for Jin Jun, Yul-song is also there and spots her from afar. He sends someone to lead her away, lying that they are going to meet prosecutor Jin Jun. When Jin Jun reaches the reception, she has been taken away. He checks the security cameras but still can't understand what really happened. Soon, Sarah is allowed to go home, but tragically, it's to attend her mother's funeral. They find her mom dead at her dad's old worksite and assume she decided to take her own life. Sarah is shocked when she receives this news and becomes even more furious when she sees Yul-song at the funeral. After the funeral, Yul-song meets with his secret society. They introduce a new member, Professor Seo, who also was the last person to talk to Yumi before she dies. Ji Jun calls him for an investigation after he refuses to cooperate and hand over his phone multiple times. The last time Ji Jun calls, Professor Seo jumps out of the window trying to kill himself but luckily survives and falls into a coma. This leads to a wave of protests against prosecutor Ji Jun's forceful investigation tactics. Ji Jun's boss, who is close to Yul-song, scolds him for this. However, Ji Jun feels it's unfair and declares his resignation to the press. After some time, Saare finally gets released from prison, now much stronger both physically and mentally. Jang Mi picks her up from prison. Touched by Jang Mi's kindness and sincerity, Saare agrees to her proposal to work together. Sarah also says she wants to take revenge on Yul-song and put him in prison for what he did, so she can win custody of her son. They quickly start a support service called Solution and also recruit more staff, including Kang Bom and a man named Daeki. The first client is a famous writer named Lee Ju-won who is married to news presenter Jang Jae-kook. They are known online as a powerful couple. However, Jang Jae-kook gets involved in a harassment scandal with a female colleague and quickly faces boycotts from the broadcaster and the audience. Lee Ju-won wants to divorce him to protect her and her daughter Soo-ji's reputation, who has to endure public scrutiny and bullying at school. While they are talking, Soo-ji calls Ju-won to say goodbye. Feeling something is terribly wrong, the Solution team takes Ju-won to the school and finds Soo-ji standing on the rooftop, ready to jump. The Solution team finds a way to get to the rooftop. Sarah gets on the balcony and tells Soo-ji about how her own mother had jumped from a rooftop and tells the girl to think about her mother. Soo-ji is then convinced and is about to go down but she slips and falls, but Sarah manages to catch her. They save Soo-ji and she is sent to the hospital with her mom. The Solution team comes back to their office and Sarah is convinced to help Soo-won. Funnily enough, Jae-kook's litigation lawyer is from Cheol law firm. The strange thing is that although Soo believes her husband harassed the colleague and wants a divorce, she still posts pictures of messages between the two proving that it was consensual. Sarah continues to search for her son but still hasn't heard any news. Jang Mi meets her and presents a file of someone who applied to be a legal advisor for Solution. To Sarah's surprise, it's no one else but Ji Jun. Jang Mi is excited to hire a former prosecutor to work for them, but Sarah is not very comfortable with this idea. The next day, Sarah has to meet Ji Jun for a job interview, and the meeting is very awkward. Sarah tries to talk about work, but Ji Jun keeps bringing up their history from 9 years ago. It turns out that 9 years ago, the night before Sarah's wedding, they planned to run away together, but Ji Jun didn't show up, and Sarah ran to his house in the rain. There, Ji Jun told her that he had changed his mind and wanted her to marry Yeol Son. However, when Sarah was about to leave, he hugged her and asked her to stay, but this time Sarah chose to leave. In the present, Sarah tells Ji Jun to decline the job offer from director Jang Mi. However, Ji Jun doesn't want to miss the opportunity to work with Sarah and insists on working for Solution, promising that their past relationship will not affect their work.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe and like for more videos like this.